It's official, Corbin Burnes has left the Baltimore Orioles, and Orioles fans are punching the air right now because they have a brand new ownership group that has given the green light to the GM Michael Elias to go spend money, and Mike has essentially said, nah, I'm good. We also have an update on Teoscar Hernandez. He officially signed a brand new contract, and also we have to talk about the Blue Jays. Former players Russell Martin and Josh Donaldson are suing Canada. Kind of. We'll talk about that later on. We'll get into all of that in today's recap. And don't forget, guys, we post baseball updates every single day, so stick around and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget that recap is brought to you by SeatGeek and Underdog Fantasy. Use code Fuzzy for a bunch of free stuff and promos. Before we talk about Corbin Burnes, I do want to talk about the fact that Teoscar Hernandez is returning to the Los Angeles Dodgers. But yeah, Teoscar is going back to LA on a 3-year contract worth $66 million. Now, there is a 4th year. It's a team option. There's no way they pick up that option, so it's basically a 3-year deal. Now, there will be a buyout for the 4th year if they don't secure that contract, so Teoscar makes money in the 4th year regardless, and there is deferred money. About $22 million of the 66 is being deferred. So I'm going to go ahead and put up on the screen right now all of the deferred money for the Dodgers going forward, from Ohtani to Mookie Betts to Freeman to even smaller guys like Tommy Edman. Yes, they are all getting deferred money. We've ranted about deferrals before. I'm not going to get into it today because we know that the Nationals used deferred money to keep Max Scherzer and win a World Series. Then they deferred money in Steven Strasburg's contract. Rafael Devers has deferred money. Francisco Lindor has deferred money. Everyone uses deferred money, but it's only a problem when the Dodgers do it because Ohtani, he deferred all of that 680 because he could. It was his idea, not the Dodgers. And may I just remind you guys that spending a lot of money doesn't just guarantee winning a World Series. The Angels gave Josh Hamilton, Albert Pujols, Vernon Wells, well, he was a trade, so I don't know if that really counts, and Anthony Rendon, almost $1 billion, and they haven't gotten anything from those moves. So I just want to reiterate with the Teoscar Hernandez signing, ownership matters. The Dodgers are ran by literally Jimmy Neutron. They're ran by geniuses. And their latest brain blast was getting Teoscar Hernandez back in that lineup. He had 33 home runs with a near 140 OPS plus last year. He was a home run derby champion. They don't care about defense. They don't care about strikeouts. They want pop. And he brings that. He's one of the best power hitters we've seen in the last decade. But now the Dodgers can go Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Michael Conforto, Tommy Edman, and Gavin Lux. If you guys don't remember, Gavin Lux had a 900 OPS in the second half last year. He's still really good. Then on the pitching side of things, you have a Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Tony Gonsolin, who absolutely shreds when he's healthy, Dustin May, same thing. Then you have to shuffle those names around when Ohtani comes back, a future Hall of Famer in Clayton Kershaw. Then if Bobby Miller gets fixed, he's going to be a rotation guy as well. The defense is definitely going to be a little bit sus, especially with a Teoscar Hernandez and Conforto corner outfield. But in terms of the rotation and the lineup, the 2025 Dodgers are shaping up to be one of the deepest teams we've ever seen. The NL West is going to be a juggernaut for a while. The Padres haven't made any moves, and I'm excited for them to maybe make a splash or two in the next few weeks. But the Diamondbacks, they've done it. They've signed Corbin Burnes to a 6-year deal worth $210 million. That is the richest deal in Arizona Diamondbacks history. He also has an opt-out after 2026. So let's say Corbin wins back-to-back Cy Youngs and is the best pitcher in baseball. He can opt out and get more than the $35-ish million a year he's getting right now. Now, reports have been surfacing that the Giants and the Blue Jays offered more money, but because the tax rate in California and Canada are so insane, he opted for Arizona. And another thing, his family lives there, so he gets a lot of money and he gets to be with his family. Now, before we eviscerate the Orioles for their lack of spending so far this offseason and the last few offseasons, I mean, give me a break. Kyle Gibson, Adam Frazier. What are we talking about here? I got to talk about the stacked Diamondbacks rotation because Corbin, I know the stuff has dipped a little bit over the last few years, but he's a Cy Young winner. He won back in 2021. Yes, again, the strikeouts have dipped every single year. Maybe he was a sticky merchant. I have no idea. He had a 13.3 strikeouts per 9 in 21 and 8.4 in 2024, but still, he's been dominant, a 2.9 ERA in 2024 with his lowest walks per 9 since that Cy season in 2021. He still throws gas. He pounds the strike zone. When he's not pounding the strike zone, he gets chases on pitches outside the zone. Not only that, but the stuff is still nasty enough to avoid barrels. He was top 5% for all pitchers last year in limiting hard hit percentage. So you're going to go Corbin Burnes, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Erod, Eduardo Rodriguez. There we go. I'm just going to keep it there. You have Brandon Pfaadt. You have a Braden. What is going on with my brain? It just goes to show you guys, if you're afraid to make YouTube videos because you can't speak properly or you stutter sometimes, make them. You can edit this. and even cameras. What is going on? You guys know what I'm trying to say. The Diamondbacks have a lot of pitchers, so maybe this officially means Montgomery, he's going to be on the move. Maybe the Baltimore Orioles ask for a favor, say, hey, you took our best pitcher. Can we please have a Ryan Nelson or a Montgomery? Please? The Giants and the Blue Jays offered more money, and they're kind of feeling slighted right now, but we'll talk about them in a second because the Orioles, they're by far the biggest losers in this mess. The GM, Mike Elias, however you say his last name, 2 years ago, he made a comment that it's liftoff time in terms of adding pieces to the Orioles. Liftoff apparently means Cal Gibson, Adam Frazier, Tyler O'Neill, Gary Sanchez, and Tomoyuki Sagano. I think that those are their free agents. What are you doing, liftoff? That's bad. That's cheap. Meanwhile, the Red Sox, they trade for Garrett Crochet. The Yankees add Max Fried. Now, Elias, again, he has been given the green light to spend some money, but he is hell-bent on proving a point to the rest of Major League Baseball that you can win a chip without buying it. He wants to be the anti-Dodgers, I'm paraphrasing, as what other people have said about him. He doesn't want to spend money because, again, he wants to prove a point. That's a cop-out in my opinion. I really think that he doesn't want the embarrassment of giving a lot of money to a guy, that guy being injured or underperforming and regressing, and he looks stupid as a GM. Sure, I respect the idea of building internally. Maybe a Chase McDermott or a Cade Povich actually overperform and they're rookies of the year in 2025, and you don't need a Corbin Burnes you do need Corbin Burns. But again, now you have to rely on a Chase McDermott, a Cade Povich, who, by the way, Povich was really good to end the season last year. You have some other pieces in play, but you traded for Corbin Burns and then he leaves for nothing. Or maybe he got a qualifying offer so the Orioles would get a draft pick, and they are good at drafting and developing. I don't know, dude. This just screams of cheapage. That's not even a word, but I'm using it. Blue Jays fans are also not too happy this offseason because they've lost out on Juan Soto, and this was after losing out on Shohei Ohtani. The reports are they gave an offer to Teoscar Hernandez that was pretty generous, and also a very generous offer to Corbin Burns. They're missing out on everyone. Now, maybe that's because the team and the franchise has been pretty stinky over the last few years, or maybe it's because of the Canadian tax situation, and there's a big update on that. So we know that the Dodgers, they spam deferrals and signing bonuses because it helps to skirt the CBT, the luxury tax threshold, as well as income taxes. We have a huge update on Toronto taxes from former star players Russell Martin and Josh Donaldson. They recently sued the CRA, the Canadian Revenue Agency, and they won their cases. So basically the way that it works is if you play for the Blue Jays, you have different tax rates because you're playing a lot of your games in Toronto and like 40% of your games on the road. So you get taxed more because you're in Canada, who has a higher tax rate. I'm not an accountant or an econ major, so I can't exactly tell you what is going to happen based off these wins from Josh Donaldson and Russell Martin, but maybe it provides more transparency for future free agents. Maybe this makes it easier to sign guys going forward. I wanted to give you guys an update on that because taxes have spooked free agents for as long as I can remember. Donaldson and Russell Martin, even though they're not in baseball, they still could be helping the game grow. But I do want to tip my cap to the Blue Jays because they're at least trying, or maybe it's all a facade to say, hey, we tried, when realistically, maybe they're not great offers behind the scenes. A lot of money, but maybe there's some behind the scenes contractual stuff that's weird. And by that, I just mean taxes. Taxes have scared a lot of players from going to the Blue Jays. And the same can be said about California teams. Unless you're the Los Angeles Dodgers and you use deferrals and signing bonuses to skirt all of that mess. The Giants tried. They offered Corbin Burns a ton of money, but in the last few weeks, they've lost out on Blake Snell to the Dodgers, a West rival. Now you miss out on Corbin Burns to the Diamondbacks, another rival in your division. That's a punch to the gut if you ask me. All I'm saying is Kyle Harrison, the nasty lefty, he better take that next step. Hayden Birdsong, he better get that command in check. Maybe a bounce back from Robbie Ray. I don't know. Teoscar Hernandez is off the board. Corbin Burns is off the board. So in terms of the projected war leaders for the free agents remaining, you have Alex Bregman, Ha-Sung Kim, Jack Flaherty, Nick Pivetta, Pete Alonso, Anthony Santander, Max Scherzer, Jerkson Profar, Kershaw, and a bunch of other decent names. So let me know if you're a Blue Jays fan or a Giants fan or an Orioles fan. What do you make of your offseason so far, and who do you think that you can go grab that can replace the production lost or that you've just missed out on? I'm curious.